Hello and welcome to a quick video covering how to use the free tool section on Index Edge. Now, of course, as the name suggests, this section is completely free. You don't need to pay to access this area, and there is actually a lot of data, so this can be useful to all football index traders. So first of all, we have all of the matchday scores since the start of August 2019, and you can search for your favourite players in the search data bar here. And we'll just go for Haaland because I know he hit at 283 last night against Seville, and you'll be able to see that score there. And then you'll be able to find all of his recent matchday scores. You can also sort to see the games where he scored the most amount of goals and what sort of matchday scores he's hitting when he is scoring 2 or 3 goals, for example, or even 4, as he did against Hertha Berlin earlier this season when he did hit a matchday score of 305. So yeah, just press sort once, then sort again to find the highest number in your selected column. As you can see, he's hit some pretty decent scores, but even when he scored 2 goals a couple of times, he's not actually hit that high scores, like a 81 or a 151. It's not the best, or a 136, for example. But he has got that ability to get like a hat trick or score 4 goals and get 2 goals and an assist and hit a 283, for example. So you can use this basic matchday scoring table in various ways. On the advanced version, you have a lot more data. You'd have all of the breakdown, like key passes, crosses, total shots, formation played, opposition formation, home and away, and so on, all in these columns that are empty here. And you'd also be able to filter and export the data as well. But on the basic matchday scoring table, it can be useful to have a look at your favourite players. The other thing that you can do is just sort any of these columns, as I've sort of already shown to you with the goals example. But if you wanted to find the highest ever matchday scores, I'm not really sure why you would, but if you were just interested, then you would just press sort in the matchday score column here. You can see this Jacek Gawalski, he had an absolute shocker. Minus 86 points in 35 minutes. He must have scored like an own goal and got sent off or something silly, because that is just a disgustingly low score. But if we press sort again in here, you'll see that Gnabry hit the highest score against Tottenham with 4 goals. El Haddadi hit that 455 when he scored a hat-trick last season in the Europa League, and Josip Ilicic as well in the Champions League, I think that was, hitting a 454 when he scored 4 goals. So yeah, some really impressive matchday scores coming up, as you'd expect, really, with it being sorted by the highest matchday scores. Anyway, we'll move on to the dividend dashboard then. So this is the free dividend dashboard. Quite a lot of data in here though, so there is quite a lot that you can do. Really useful. You can sort it by date first of all, so we'll just have a look at results from this season, see who's returned the most so far in the 2020 to 2021 season. And I think it is Lionel Messi. Yeah, so Lionel Messi's top, then Bruno Fernandes, then Kimmich, Pogba, Jadon Sancho. So some great players coming up. And Andrew Robertson, standout player this season, with him taking a few more set pieces. He's actually returned 90p in dividends, which is pretty impressive. You can also find the players with the highest dividend yield. So we'll go for a dividend yield of 20% perhaps. And you'll be able to find some pretty good players. And also you could change the age as well. So we'll find players who have returned 20% and are under 24. So we'll go for some slightly younger players. I think Sancho will probably come up. Theo Hernandez, he's one who's come up. Donny van de Beek, Tierney. If we change the price as well, you could even have a look at players under. We'll go for £1. I would go for £2, but there's not enough players between £1 and £2 at the moment. So yeah, some pretty decent players coming up here. Some of these have only returned dividends like once, like Javier Taveras or Igor Zubeldia. Maybe a little bit of luck with like 1 gold star match day win there, but some massive dividend yields nevertheless. It shows how important it is to hold your players, and how, like, over the 3-year period, your players can become a lot more valuable. Like, these players here have literally returned 70% or more of their price in just 1 game, which is really impressive. And then you could just filter this in various other ways. You can find your favourite players. You can have a look at different types of dividends as well. So that's quite interesting. So if we reset this, and let's have a look at some media players. I very rarely look at media players. I know Pogba will probably be number 1, and then Bruno Fernandes. Oh, Sancho's there, I guess, due to his transfer links to Man United. He's number 1. Then Bruno, then Pogba. So pretty close, really, at the top. Then Messi, Kane. That can be interesting. If we change the age to like 22, think Kai Havertz and Jadon Sancho will probably stand out due to their transfer links. Then Haaland's up there as well, I suppose. And surprisingly, Trent is there. I've not seen him earn media much, but 19p in media since the start of last season. Not too bad at all, really. So that is how to use the free dividend dashboard. We'll move on to the player profiles now. This is one of my favourite sections on Index Edge. And we'll have a look at Lionel Messi. So you have all the prices there in the price section. And this infographic is quite interesting because you have £4.73, which is his current buy price, £5.08. Now that's actually his average price within your selected date range. Because we're on the free dashboard, you can't really choose your date range. It's just the last 3 months. But that does show that his average price is £5.08 over the last 3 months. And then his peak price over the last 3 months is £5.64. If we scroll down, you'll see his price graph. And then we have the Matchday Scores. And you can see his average score, which is 211 over the last 3 months, which is quite incredible, really. And then the Matchday Scores versus date as well. And all of the points in green, they are when he's actually won dividends. And then when it's red, that's when he's not earned dividends. What I like to do is change the chart type. And you can do this with, I think, all the dashboards on Index Edge, which is really cool as well. So if you change the chart type, I just prefer to see it as bars personally. You can see that he's hit some crazy high Matchday Scores over the last 3 months with 318 there, 298 and 303. Really impressive Matchday Scores from Lionel Messi. And you can actually see that 15.4% of his scores have been over 300 over the last 3 months. So he's in really great form. And this is the competition adjusted, removing that 1.25 multiplier Matchday Score distribution graph. So this is just showing what kind of scores he hits. And you can see that like over around 60 or maybe even 70% of his scores are over 180. So he's just so incredibly consistent. Very rarely hits a score less than 100 here. Only 7.7% of his scores over the last 3 months. Then you have the Matchday Score table as well. So this is where you get some real in-depth data on your players of choice. So you can scroll along here and you'll be able to see how many like goals, assists, shots on target, passes, key passes, crosses your players are completing in specific games. And the other thing that you can do is you can sort this by dates. You can sort all of these columns in whichever way you wish to sort them. You can also hide certain columns if you don't really care for certain information. It might just make your viewing a little bit easier. And if we scroll along, we'll have a look at a game where he's completed the most passes. And there's a good chance that in the game where he has completed the most passes, his Matchday Score will be particularly high. So if we just press sort there once, press sort again, and over the last 3 months, the most passes, so it's 86. And then if we scroll along here again, what we'll see is he's hit some pretty decent scores, 212, and there we have the 298, 303. In fact, I think what this data is probably showing us more than anything, I'm probably not right on the passes point. It's just the goals and assists really that do it, isn't it? So if you have a look in here now and we go for goals, so when he's scoring 2 goals in these 3 games, I'd put a lot of money on him earning dividends in those. 28p, 56p in those 2 games there. Although I guess he's just earning dividends all the time, isn't he? So I guess with a player like Messi, sorting through these isn't as important as other players. Key passes could be an interesting one again. Crosses, total crosses, when he's completed 9 crosses that game there. I wonder what score he hit in that match. Let's have a look. Total crosses, 9. Score along. He won dividends in that one with a 318. How many goals and assists did he get? 1 goal. So he's only scored 1 goal and he's hit a 318. And it's in a normal game. It's not even with a multiplier. That just shows you how a player who's getting goals and is so involved in the game, like key passes, crosses, passes as well. Like he completed 59 passes, which is pretty impressive. 4 dribbles too. It is going to result in a high matchday score. So you get all the breakdown there. I really enjoy looking into the matchday scoring table in more detail, so I do recommend doing that. Then you have the media scores here as well. Actually, he hasn't earned any media dividends over the last 3 months, so that section is empty. But he has earned 13p in team of the month, 1p in matchday extra, and you can see the dividends by month just here too, which is quite a nice visualization of how they've actually returned their dividends. And you have the key for that here. So if you want to see how many he's returned as a forward, how many he's returned best player, you can just sort of hover over that and it will be highlighted there. And then you have the matchday and media dividend wins. So this will just give you a further breakdown of the games when he's actually won dividends, or the days that he's won dividends if it's via the media or Matchday Extra or Team of the Month. So we'll go back up and we'll finally have a look at the market metrics section, just a quick overview of this. So there's a lot that you can do in the free section actually on Index Edge. So let's have a look at the date range. So that's cool. We have the full date range here for the free metrics dashboard. So we'll just go for the last 12 months, put a filter in there, and you can see Football Index hasn't done so well over the last 12 months. This line is just dropping a lot, which isn't great to see. That is the average buy and sell price. You can see there's quite a wide spread as well in general between that buy and sell price. So next we have the spread percentage versus date, and again that's just showing you how wide the spread is really across players on the platform. And then the amount traded versus day, and I think this is quite interesting. You can see it really spiked in November. I think that might have been when the 5x in-play dividends were introduced temporarily, and that would result in more trading, but it's really dropped off, and these figures here are quite low. What I'm hoping to see over the next 12 months is obviously the amount traded really rise again, and I am actually really confident that we will see that. As always, you can change the chart type for all of these dashboards to see it in whichever format you want. Just click here, and you can also maximize it just to get a greater view of the relevant dashboard, but remember to minimize it again to get back to the full all of the dashboards. So that is how to use the free tools on Index Edge. There's plenty that you can do. I recommend having a look at the player profiles for any players that you are interested in buying, having a look at the matchday scores for players who have hit scores recently, or again, it can be a quick way to have a look at players of your choice, like their matchday scores. And then you also have the dividend section where you can find some value players who have returned dividends in the past. And then the market metrics can be interesting just to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of Football Index and prices. So thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.